Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest this evening is 8 3-minute rounds in the lightweight division. Firstly, in the red corner from Bermondsey in London, wearing the silver and black shorts, weighing in 9 stone 13. He enters the ring with 15 wins from 34 contests. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting and introducing Peter Mcdonagh. And across the ring stands a man who needs no introduction in Scotland, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the gold shorts, weighing in 9 stone 13. He brings with him a record of 27 wins, 3 losses with 20 wins inside the distance. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former Commonwealth Games gold medalist, the former British, Commonwealth, European and WBO super featherweight champion of the world, from Edinburgh, Alex Arthur. Your referee in charge of the action is Victor Laughlin of Paisley, who will now give his final instructions to both boxers.
Okay guys, you know the rules. Obey my commands at all time, defend yourselves at all time. God bless, let's do it. Touch them. Touch gloves.
Ladies and gentlemen, 8 3-minute rounds.
So the comeback trail begins for Alex Arthur here in Glasgow. He says he's still the best boxer in Scotland. He's got to start proving it against Peter Mcdonagh this evening. A fight that Alex Arthur really should be expected to win. He would have walked it in his pomp. Can he do it tonight at the age of 32? And with a couple of defeats behind him, I'm delighted to say that, as ever, at ringside I'm joined by Colin Hart. Good evening, Colin.
Yeah.
I'll ring Colin in just a second. As Arthur in the gold shorts, taking the fight here to Mcdonagh, who's in the white and black. Interesting record, Peter Mcdonagh. Something of a journeyman, at least on paper, but much better than that record of his suggests. Arthur very much championship pedigree, former WBO super featherweight champion. Of course, he won the European, British and Commonwealth titles at 9 stone 4 as well. Boxing up at lightweight now. And looking to get back in the title mix, and the world title mix as well. He's coming into this fight with the back of the defeat against Nigel Wright 18 months or so ago.
No. Can you hear me now? I think I'm back in the land of the living. I hadn't fallen asleep, I had microphone problems.
That's the voice of Colin Hart, who's joining me here at ringside in Glasgow. Colin, a fight that Alex Arthur really should win this evening.
Well, yes, I mean, his career went off track, didn't it, after winning a world title. And he never fulfilled that early potential. So now he's got another opportunity to get back towards the top again, and he should have no trouble with this guy. But of course, he's 32 now, and I'm just wondering how much ambition he's got left.
Well, that's what it might come down to, Colin. Because he's had some hard nights, he had some hard defeats as well. Just takes a stumble backwards there. Arthur, I think he's just caught off balance. The fight against Nigel Wright was a bit gruelling. He lost on points to Nicky Cook as well, and obviously he had that war against Michael Gomez. That was a few years ago now.
I mean, when he won the Best Young Boxer of the Year title in 2001, he's not the same man, is he?
No, he's not. He's just looking a little bit ragged here as the bell, 10 seconds away from the bell for the end of the first round. Jab there from Mcdonagh as well. He started this fight positively, a London-based Irishman.
Yeah, it's a little bit of needle between these two, and there were some handbags at the weigh-in apparently on Friday when they sort of bumped heads, but they seem to be controlling themselves so far in the opening round, not doing anything stupid.
We're just seeing some pictures here of Alex Arthur in his corner. fairly calm and relaxed. Here's some highlights of that opening round. Just a little stumble there from Arthur. It was no more than being caught off balance. Sometimes, Colin, though, it's hard once you've lost a couple of fights. You just seem to lose your way, don't you?
Yep. Well, he certainly has, which is a great pity because, as I say, at one time we thought he was, you know, going to go on to great things.
Well, he looked the real deal, didn't he, when he turned pro? He won a gold medal at the Commonwealth Games. Turned professional, getting him for a decade ago.
Yeah, and I saw him win that gold medal in Kuala Lumpur.
So back in '98. And he really looked the business, and he made pretty swift ground when he turned pro. It wasn't long before he won the British title. And along with Scott Harrison up here in Scotland, he really looked as if he could revive boxing north of the border. Things began to go wrong. It's when he became a world champion. I think he struggled to make the weight. Given a test against Steve Foster Jr. It was a fight everyone expected him to win quite easily. He was on the floor that night. And then against Nicky Cook, he seemed to run out of ideas. Mcdonagh has this very, very high work rate. Only been stopped once through injury. An absolute war with Lee Purdy a year or so ago. Not a massive puncher. Arthur's definitely the man with the power. Mcdonagh will be in his face for the whole fight and really make Alex Arthur earn his victory.
But I don't think he carries the power at this weight that he did lower down.
Arthur?
Yeah, Arthur. Sorry, I'm talking about Arthur. But he should have enough knowledge to outbox this fellow anyway. He's beginning to get home now with his left and right hooks.
What about this claim, Colin, that he's still the best boxer in Scotland? Obviously, Ricky Burns is headlining this evening, challenging for Arthur's old title, in fact, but Arthur does hold a win over Burns.
Yes, and that was when Burns was just about starting out, so it's on the record, but whether he would be able to do it now is a moot point. I mean, I think Burns is an excellent boxer. Unfortunately, he doesn't carry much power. And we'll find out tonight, at world level, that may be a great disadvantage for him.
Arthur's just beginning to get into this fight now. I think he looked the greatest in the first round. He's always been a slow starter. I remember when he fought Burns, first 8 rounds were pretty even, and then he pulled away down the stretch.
He's beginning to get into a bit of a rhythm.
He is. Decent fight to watch this as well. Plenty of action. Not to see referee Victor Loughlin too much. Arthur gets through there with another right hand. Just saw the spray flying from Mcdonagh's head. Mcdonagh just misses with a left hook. Bell goes for the end of the second. How did you have that one, Colin?
Oh, I made Arthur win that quite comfortably. He was getting, he was outscoring Mcdonagh at long range.
See some pictures here of Arthur in his corner. And here's that action from the second round. Body shots there from Arthur, making Mcdonagh grimace a bit.
Yeah, if this fight goes the 4-8 round, he'll start feeling the effects of those body punches for Mr. Mcdonagh.
Seeing a stat there, 8 body shots for Arthur, none so far for Mcdonagh. Good body shots there as well. It's a shame Arthur just went on that little losing streak. Reverse against Cook and Nigel Wright as well. There's still is some good fights out there, but there were at the time. Kevin Mitchell if Mitchell had come through against Katsidis against Arthur, would have been a real cracker.
Yeah, and they could still fight because Mitchell's coming off that very bad loss, and he and Arthur would be a good fight.
Selling Scotland, wouldn't it? Selling the East End as well, I imagine.
Yeah, it certainly would. But I don't think we'll see Mitchell in the ring again until December at the earliest. After all, he's had a eye surgery, hasn't he? Correct a dodgy muscle in one of his eyes.
Well, eye surgery and a bad loss as well.
Yep.
That will have knocked his confidence. As I'm sure Arthur will tell you, it does take a bit of coming back when you've had a loss.
Well, they say the true champions are the ones that do come back from defeat.
Such a long road back these days, though, isn't it, Colin? You
Yes,
have to really wait your time. There's not so many television opportunities.
Well, the trouble is that, you know, fighters are too easily discarded because they've had a loss. And they're written off, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, some of the greatest fighters who ever lived were beaten more than once in their careers, and you learn from defeat, unless you've been badly battered.
Arthur's only had that one really bad beating against Michael Gomez. A memorable night that up in Edinburgh. Seems like a lifetime ago. A real thriller for the British title. Must be hard for Arthur too as well to be boxing down the card for so long, a headliner. Headliner as a youngster as well, and then suddenly you get a bit older when you would have thought you'd be the superstar, and you're back to boxing 8 rounders.
Yes, second on the card.
As he was up in Newcastle when he lost to Nigel Wright. At least he's got a bigger crowd in here this evening supporting him. Kelvin Hall already well on the way to capacity. We're still a couple of hours away from the big fight this evening. Slightly lower key round, that one. How have you had it, Colin?
Well, I still made Arthur win it. I think he's doing most of the effective punching. You get the feeling that his speed is not quite there now, Arthur.
Well, he was never the fleetest of foot, was he, when he was...
No, I'm just talking about his hand speed. I don't know. It's just... He's not the same man as he was a couple of years ago, so no, in my opinion anyway. He's getting there, but, you know, just getting there.
I don't know, sometimes maybe just lacking that touch of intensity, but it's so hard when you, as I keep saying, when you're boxing down the card and you're in fights that...
Well, you should give him the determination to get himself back up the top again.
He looks in great shape, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with his fitness.
There was times when he boxed at super feather when he, like a ghost coming into the ring, he was drained at the weight. I thought he looked too big against Nigel Wright as well. That was a left hand, then a good body shot from Arthur. Trying to get Mcdonagh's gloves down. Combination. There's not too much coming back from Mcdonagh at the moment.
No. But don't you think that his punches, although he's getting them home, they lack snap? You know, they don't seem to be hurting Mcdonagh.
Well,
they're scoring. They don't seem to be hurting him.
He doesn't look as if he's going to knock him out, does he?
No.
Mcdonagh throwing the odd shot back. 3 good body shots there from Arthur. Mcdonagh's beginning to feel some of these, I think. He's hanging on in there. He's gritting his teeth. There's not too much coming back from the Londoner at the moment. Arthur trapped on the ropes, but he's been dominating this round. Body shot there from Mcdonagh, but Arthur piling on the pressure, back with a body shot of his own.
And he's got far more variety of punches than Mcdonagh as well, as one would expect from him. Former world champion.
Mcdonagh just beginning to slow down now. He gets clipped with the right hand. We made the point about Arthur being a notoriously slow starter. He has upped the gears, certainly in this round, and as the fight's gone on, hasn't he, Colin?
Yeah, he's up the gears and McDonagh's getting slower. Maybe those body shots are having the desired effect, slowing him up.
Arthur just got a little bit sloppy there and got tagged a couple of times. Double jab again from the Scotsman, though. Been Arthur's best round of the fight, even as he gets caught with a jab there.
Yeah, approaching the halfway stage, and he's in complete control of the fight now, Arthur. But at light welterweight, where can you see him going?
Well, I think though this fight's been made at light welter, it'll come down to lightweight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you couldn't imagine him in with Amir Khan, could you?
No, although no, you couldn't. But there was rumours of Khan and Arthur a couple of years ago.
Ah, yes.
But not
now.
No, not now. But that's if it had carried on winning, Colin, that's the kind of path
that would have been a monster fight.
You could have seen him taking. That's why it must be so frustrating for him, the fights that he could have had. I don't know where he goes at lightweight. Katsidis, obviously a man to beat at the moment after that win over Mitchell. I think Katsidis would be a handful for Arthur, though, wouldn't he?
I think Katsidis has got much bigger fights in mind. Marquez, for example.
Arthur against John Murray would be a good fight, European lightweight title.
Yep. Well, that I think now is his level.
That would be a seller as well. Murray sells well in Manchester. I'm sure Arthur would sell well in Edinburgh with a real live opponent in front of him. Good combination there from Arthur. His punches go in this round. Four and a half years since he fought Ricky Burns, Arthur. And around that time, that's probably the best form of his career, 2005, 2006, when he won that European title. Really looked good, and then it was 07 when he won the interim WBO title. It was in Cardiff. And since then, his career's really stalled. He's only fought 5 times since the summer of 2007. That's 5 times in the last 3 years.
And 3 times in the last 2 years.
A couple of those were just back down to 8 rounders. Fought twice last year in 8 rounders, just once in 2008. I think the inactivity didn't help him either. A big guy, super feather. Big guy, lightweight as well. Needs to be in action more. He's suffered his fair share of injuries though, and medical problems. He had a blood disorder around the time of the Nigel Wright fight. It's like another round safely in the bank though for Alex Arthur.
Well, it's a competent performance by Arthur, but it's not very exciting fight. There are no fireworks.
There's more fireworks at the weigh-in, I think.
Yeah.
The two fighters had to be pulled apart after they faced off, following their brief climb onto the scales.
Well, you know, we've heard of fighters leaving the fight in the gym. Looks like these two may have left it at the weigh-in.
Mcdonagh, such a gritty character. Been in some real wars. Record 15 wins and 18 losses, but said before, much better than that. She holds a win over Michael Gomez. Bizarre fight though, when Gomez quit halfway through, turned his back on him. Tape has come loose from Mcdonagh's bindings there. I'm sure the referee will have a look at that in a minute. Arthur just triples the jab and then finds himself in a headlock. And sure enough,
yeah, quite right. Referee has discovered that loose tape.
So Arthur first onto the offensive after that little break. And Arthur's got some loose tape as well. We might have another brief pause in a minute, but it's back to the action. Certainly brave, he's in shape as well. Standing in front of Arthur and taking everything he throws at him.
There doesn't seem to be very much power though in Arthur's punches. Mind you, we're not feeling them, but just by looking, it just doesn't seem to be the snap in his punches that there used to be. He's still in complete control of the fight.
It's almost getting a little bit repetitive, isn't it? Arthur dominating, but Mcdonagh hanging in there. Not much ebb and flow at the moment. Nice uppercut from Arthur with the right hand. Mcdonagh bounces back though. Arthur's not really landed a really clean shot, has he, Colin, yet?
Well, no, not a very effective one. But either is Mcdonagh when you come to think of it. there's not enough devil. There's not enough devil in him at the moment, is there, Arthur?
I think you describe it as a workmanlike performance.
Yeah, for competent, obviously comfortably ahead. Well, he should be. According to us, well, certainly according to my scorecard,
He's in no immediate danger of
out to lose.
Absolutely no immediate danger of losing the fight.
As you can tell, the reaction of the crowd, they're watching it intently, but in silence.
It's a bit before the Lord Mayor's show, isn't it? With the big world title fight coming up later on this evening.
And a fascinating Commonwealth title fight too, with young Smith of Liverpool against the champion Simpson, the local man.
Both of them the kind of fights that Arthur was involved in himself a few years ago.
It's going to be interesting to see whether Stephen Smith, who's only had 10 fights, can overcome Simpson, who by comparison is a veteran.
Well, Simpson's actually had more championship fights than Smith has had fights. We're watching another very experienced man here in Alex Arthur. Had a fair few title fights himself at various different levels. Dropping back down this evening to try and shed some ring rust. 9 months since he fought. More than a year since he won. That's better from Arthur. Confuses Mcdonagh there and leaves him with his head stuck between the ropes.
Bit untidy this round so far.
Well, again, he's well on his way to winning, Alex Arthur. Just getting not so much scrappy, but
Untidy.
Neither man really getting through. Looking busy, but not too much happening. Mcdonagh's just gone a little bit defensive as well. Maybe he needs a big fight, Colin, to really concentrate his mind, Alex Arthur.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't look championship material at the moment. It's a good, competent performance in an 8-round fight. But you don't get the impression that he's going to win a major title again. Or at least I don't. But maybe just in need of, as you say, getting that inactivity out of his system.
But he must feel that he can't get that much momentum into his career at the moment. And with those 1, 2, 3 fights in the last 3 years, really.
Well, one assumes that from now on he's going to make himself available and willing to fight, say, 5 or 6 times a year. Because after all, time's running out for him. Polite applause has greeted the end of that round.
Yeah, it's not been a dull fight to watch. Well, Arthur was saying the other day that 40 is the new 30.
He would.
Pointing to the fact that there's a few top 10 pound-for-pound boxers who are in their 40s. Bernard Hopkins, for one. He's still going strong at 45, isn't he, Colin? That's impressive.
And Holyfield's having another fight next, in November, and he's 48.
Well, I think there's a fair case for Holyfield packing it in, but Hopkins is...
Holyfield was told by Lou Duver, his trainer at the time, to pack it in after the first Bow fight, which was in '92. My memory is right.
Getting off for 20 years ago. But Bernard Hopkins is in fantastic shape, isn't he?
Yeah.
And a real threat at light heavy.
Yeah, but I'd rather watch the grass grow than watch Hopkins at times. I mean, he just goes through the motions, doesn't he? Very clever, cagey boxer, but he doesn't take any chances. Doesn't risk anything.
No, he doesn't. I'll make your heart race, does he? Arthur's been in a few wars down the years. I'll never forget the Gomez fight. It's difficult not to hark back to it when you're commentating on him. It was a true thriller. This one's not been quite as exciting.
That, I think, is a bit of an understatement here. Compare this with the Gomez fight. Still, he'll be glad to get this out the way.
Yeah, potential banana skin as well against a guy like Mcdonagh, who's always in shape and always willing to give it a go.
But he's got too much variety for Mcdonagh. Actually, it's proved just how limited Mcdonagh is, watching him against Arthur.
Well, I think the main thing he's got going for him is his bravery and stamina, isn't it?
Sure. Just the sort of man Arthur needs in the opposite corner tonight.
Absolutely.
Perfect matchmaking for him.
So into the last minute and a half of the 8th round, the final round of the fight. It'll be up to referee Victor Loughlin to decide who wins it.
I don't think there's much deciding to do.
No, it'll be a major shock if Arthur doesn't get the decision. He was very upset when he didn't get the decision against Nigel Wright and Nicky Cook as well. Most people agreed that he didn't deserve to win those fights. He does deserve to win this one.
Now Arthur's tape has come undone on his right glove. As there's only 44 seconds to go, maybe the referee won't bother to stop it. Oh yes, he has. 30 seconds to go. Only because it is dangerous. It could flick into the eyes of an opponent and cause some damage. So even if there's 5 seconds to go, the referee's quite in order to stop the action.
So we're on the way again after that tape's been dealt with. Oh, maybe a grandstand finish here. Both boxers given the chance to have a little breather there, and they've come out firing for the final seconds of the fight.
Well, Arthur is more aggressive in the last 20 seconds than he has been in the whole fight.
I think Mcdonagh has as well. Digging some heavy shots. Arthur does a little shuffle and a show back outside of the ring as the fight ends. And he gets the decision, and despite the nonsense at the weigh-in yesterday, there's a touch of the gloves between the two fighters in the two corners. And after a defeat against Nigel Wright last December, Alex Arthur is back with a win against Peter Mcdonagh. And now he has to go about trying to get himself a title at lightweight. We showed this evening that he still has something to offer, Alex Arthur. And he'll be pleased with the win. Colin.
Yeah, he looks very pleased with himself. He's smiling triumphantly in his corner, and now we'll see how far he can go in this, shall we say, last phase, presumably the last phase of his career.
Well, one would have thought another defeat at championship level would spell the end for Arthur.
Ladies and gentlemen,
but tonight he got the win. Here's the result.
Scores the contest 79 points to 74. The winner in the blue corner from Edinburgh, the amazing Alex Arthur.